It was May Day, and that could only mean one thing. Norman and his mum were on the M25 with their National Trust membership cards. The flowers only bloom for a few weeks, dear. His mum chided. I'm going the speed limit. I may be old but I'm not blind, Norman. Get the lid out. Norman reluctantly put his foot down and permitted the car to drift up a few miles per hour. It was a beautiful day, the first in a long time, and the horizon felt further away than he'd seen it in ages. They made good time, and had soon parked the car, changed into their wellies, and gained entry to their favorite Testedley home. The estate had once belonged to a baronet whose layabout heir had ceded the property to settle gambling debts at Crockford's. The house contained little more than taxidermy and yellowed paintings of hunting dogs, but the gardens had been restored after their pre-war layout was revealed via drought in the 90s. Norman and his mum visited at least twice a year for the May bloom, and again in October for the leaves. As they passed through the nut garden they heard some familiar voices. Ooh, a very clean slice. That will root fine in my greenhouse. Drop it in the bag. Sharpened nail special this morning. Should we move on to the rockery to borrow some dogtooth violets, or see if they've got any of that mint you were hoping to propagate? Kath and Betty, I would expect better, cried Norman. You're right, Pat. I've got plenty of mint at home, and must leave room in the bag for that Sambucus racemosa I saw by the gate, Betty agreed, before giving him and his mum a quick hug. Norman tried not to sigh, but it came out anyway. Of course they were here to take cuttings. It was a wonder the plants had any branches left with all the old ladies pinching bits off them off. Within moments Mom was unfurling her own waterproof bag and accepting sprigs of lavender with the help of Betty's weaponized thumbnail. You two on your way to the roadies? Kath asked. Of course, it's May Day. Mom replied. Good show this year, if a bit muddy. What say you, Bet? Care to go through again? Ooh, dunno, depends if we want to get the train back. It's a bank holiday, after all. There's room in Norman's car. Mum supplied. I need to get to Sainsbury's before June, said Betty. Norman's ears read. Well, I'm going in. You coming, Mum? He asked, a bit stiffly. Oh, twist my arm, said Betty. I want to go back for that black magic chameleon we saw on the way to the pond. If anyone can get it to root, it's you, Mum said, approvingly. This wasn't the first time Norman had gone through a formal garden feeling like a getaway driver, but he'd never heard of a pensioner getting in trouble for snapping an occasional stem. Indeed, his mother regularly asked the gardeners to snip her a sprig themselves, if they were around, and write the name of the variety in her notebook. She'd only been told no once, and they didn't tour the property. Pot of tea.